Hello, I'm violinist Heather Kay, educator and your guide through the passionate repertoire of Oskar Rieding. In this video, we're diving into Rieding's Hungarian style concertino, opus 21 in A minor. I will be giving you step-by-step guidance on how to play the opening, a section of drama and passion. This tutorial is just a taste of what I share in my course, Discovering Oskar Rieding, Essential Pieces for Developing Violinists. In the course, I walk you through almost every piece Rieding wrote with tutorials, playthroughs, practice checklists, and encouragement to help you transform your playing as a violinist. No matter if you're a late starter or a returner or a violinist that just wants to explore the impactful repertoire of Oskar Rieding. So if you enjoyed this tutorial, please be sure to check out the course. I'll leave the link in the description below. Without further ado, let's get started. One thing that's going to help you is to number your measures. So if you're using the edition in the public domain, which is the edition that I'm using, the second line begins with measure 6. The piano has the introduction for 3 full bars and a little bit of the bar that we come in on. The first 8 bars of this piece is so full of passion and heart-wrenching emotion that it just pops off the page when we play it. So in order to achieve this, to express ourselves within these first 8 bars, it has a lot to do with bow distribution. But before we get into that, let's talk a little bit about what the left hand is doing, and then we'll get into the right. In the public domain version, it does suggest to start with open E, but you have to shift and it sounds kind of really harsh. So you can do that if you want, or you can just start immediately up in 3rd position as I do. And I put a little bit of stress on that E, the first E, but technically it is a 16th note, so it should be very even. And we're leading with a crescendo to a forte at measure 5, where 5 is where we have the C natural. So we're starting mezzo forte and crescendoing to a forte. We start at the tip of the bow, and then we come immediately into these downs, down, down, downs. And it takes a lot of bow technique in order to get that to sound really clear and rich. We have to make sure that we land before pulling. So you can actually feel like you're tugging the string before pulling the bow. A great way to practice that is just open strings. And then add your left hand. So we have 2 8th notes followed by a quarter. We don't want to get too high in the bow because we have these 16th notes. And we don't want them to, if we're up here, it's going to be a little bit more awkward. So in the middle of the bow. Learning the piece, I would learn it strictly correctly with the rhythm. And then if you want to sing by putting a slight tenuto somewhere, to stretch somewhere, that's totally fine. This is a great place actually on this D. You can even put a nice vibrato on it if you have vibrato, but that D really is beautiful. So measure 6, our rhythm. So I choose to play this G sharp at the end of 6 with a low 1 in 3rd position. That way our next notes are with 2 and 1 in 2nd position technically. So let's talk about this. In measure 7, it's the exact same bow stroke that you had in measure 5, the repeated downs. So you can practice that, the 2 of those, one right after the other. So in measure 5, and then in measure 7. So you can just practice making sure that you get both of those sections practiced no matter what your left hand is doing. The right hand is doing the same thing. As you see, I'm really close to the frog here. It is super important that when you play these repeated downs, your index finger is relaxed. If it's not, it's going to be really hard. You need to feel the balance of your bow hold within the middle finger, the thumb, and that pinky to get that really good. And you could practice without the index finger. Our ring finger kind of helps with the direction of the bow, but in this case we just want to go straight, so he just kind of hangs on. And the E string, we don't want it to crack. It's such a sensitive string, so you want to just make sure that you're not pushing into the violin, but feeling a relaxed weight through to get this to ring. Okay, so enough of the 3 downs. It does come quite a bit, so it's a good technique to get developed. So measure 7. Again, we don't want to get too high in the bow. It's the same basically as measure 5 as far as bow technique. Then we shift down and measure 8. And we have this decrescendo here that we're setting up for measure 9, which is a piano. And the shift in the first position is the same finger shift. And we have our octave E's. So if you wanted to take this to the next level, play your octave E's to make sure that you're in tune from that C natural. And then as far as the bow, we don't want to use too much bow in that dotted quarter because we're starting piano at measure 9. And we want that to be in the upper half because it's a piano dynamic. Measure 9 is a piano dynamic, so it's going to be in the upper half here for the bow. And this rhythm is very interesting. It's 16ths followed by a dotted 8th, so it's 5/16ths. So really listen that the 16ths are all equal value. And then at 10, we have a forte. Coming again at 13 with the triple downs. So let's talk about this at 10. 10, we have these accents. We want to bring them out. We really want to sing. You just think of yourself as a vocalist as you're playing this at 10. Sing and vibrate on every accent. So we vibrate every note, but on the accents, we want to even vibrate more. And then when we come to measure 11, we have a decrescendo to a mezzo forte. Measure 12 is really tricky with the rhythm, so you want to subdivide your 8th notes. And then play it smooth. And we want to add the vibrato on the F, but pretty much keep everything else silent. So shifting in a third. So you want to develop these triple downs on different strings, on the E string, on the G string as well. And the G string, we can have a little bit more weight in there to get that triple down. And then in third position. And then I shift into second. And then shifting down into first. And in 16, I slur the 16ths to the first 8th. And this is all within a mezzo forte dynamic. When we get to 17, it is forte here. So just keep that in mind. Let's talk about 16. How we slur this all together here. First beat to the E. And then up on the G sharp. Accent on the A. We don't want to use a lot of bow for that accent. When we're playing faster, we have to use smaller bows and smaller muscle groups, or else it's going to just be really awkward. Measure 17 is really passionate with these 16th notes on the G string. And we're going to be in the upper half. So how we get this really rich sound is to feel the torque in the bow, and how we can do that is by lifting slightly with the thumb and leaning in with the index. So you can kind of see that, how the stick is responding to what I'm doing. And you can hear that gorgeous sound. And then the string crossing to A, so we got to drop the bow arm, and then to the E. Again, the triple downs and measure 19. And we have a decrescendo here at 20. So let's talk about how I fingered this at the end of 18. I shifted into second. It's like kind of a little creepy crawly. And then into third. And then the triple downs in third. And then here are our nice accents on our C. And how we get those accents, as I mentioned before, vibrato and also bow speed. And then the 16th notes are more kind of like in the upper middle. And to get this decrescendo, we can accomplish it in a couple different ways. One, by using less bow, and two, by using less weight, and three, by watching where you're playing. So we can get a little bit closer to the fingerboard there in order to have that get softer. So I stay in the upper half there. To this part of the bow is a nice quieter part of the bow. It has less weight, so we can use that to help us express and get quieter. I'll start again at 19. And here at 21, we have a little bit of chromatics going on, with a low one for the D sharp coming back to a regular one, to a high 2, and I use a 4 at 22. So let's just talk about the separate bows, starting at 21, low 2, high 2, high 1, regular 3, high 2, to a 4. You want to make sure your left hand is solid before you add the slurs. And every note that has an accent, you want to give it a little extra vibrato so it helps that accent pop out. And then at 22, what we play the G sharp at the beginning of 22, and then after that we play that G sharp with a 4, and then after that we play it with a 3. Regular 4. This is one of Rieding's hidden techniques. He really loves to go back and forth between a 1 and a 4, so you can set up your hand frame. And crescendoing to that harmonic. We will talk about that in a second. Let's talk about that hand frame. So in my course, I highly encourage everyone to practice their hand frame in the different positions that we play in first position, third position, fifth position, whatever position it is. And Rieding does that in his repertoire. He actually encourages the violinist to play between 1 and 4, which is that hand frame or the imprint of the left hand, to help with the intonation, making sure that it stays solid. So here's 23. First position, then we're going to go for the harmonic. And how we do this, it's going to be an up bow. We shift up during the bow change. So you can practice down bow on the B, up bow on the harmonic. And when we go for it, it's kind of like a little bit of a scoop. When we shift up, we can't stay stuck to the fingerboard. We've got to release. And when we play the B before the harmonic, it's set down and then it scoops up into that harmonic. And then we have our triple downs again. And that concludes our tutorial for the opening of Hungarian Concertino, Opus 21 in A minor. Now that was just the beginning. If you like this tutorial and would love to learn how to play the rest of this piece, be sure to check out my Discovering Oskar Reading course, Essential Pieces for Developing Violinists. You'll get guided lessons, slow playthroughs, regular speed playthroughs, technique tips, practice checklists, everything you need to transform your playing as a violinist. I'll leave a link in the description below. Happy practicing and keep shining as a violinist. Ciao!